Hi there, Taurus. This is Carrie Mubarak at wooingnature.life, and this is your monthly reading for January 2020. So we're getting you ready for the new year, getting you ready for your new decade. Um, it's a really it's a really interesting time. I think everybody's very much excited about 2020. I think it's probably just because it's 2020, it resonates in some kind of way. Think about your 2020 vision, getting clear, getting focused. So there's a lot of innuendo and there's a lot of kind of cultural familiarity with 2020, but to be honest with you, 2020 is going to be another round of building, and it's going to be another round of ascension for all of us. We've been dealing with this for quite some time. Some people say it started in 2018. Some people said it was 2019. 2020, don't expect that much of a difference, but do expect for there to be some really firm foundational um, work happening right off the bat in January. So I've done a little astrology and checked out the astrology for January. The most compelling thing is the lineup of planets in Capricorn, Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter and also Mercury. And then later in the month, or maybe even in the month of February, Mars comes in and finishes up the job, so to speak. So there's a lineup in Capricorn with a lot of planets, and it indicates that this is probably a more serious time or a time to focus on some things that we probably haven't focused on. January is that time, but it sort of sets the pace for the rest of the year because January brings in the rest of the year. So how we start, if we have a good start and we have a firm start and we have a good foundation to begin with, then the rest of 2020 should follow that. So you want to think in terms of January as being setting some good foundation for yourself and setting good groundwork for what's coming next or what you're anticipating or what you're wanting to have happen next. Now, doing groundwork might feel like grunt work. It might feel like grunge. It may feel like things that you don't really want to do. They're nuts and bolts. It's the logistical things that have to happen. It's sort of like go and do your homework, and then you can go outside and play. So if you think about January as the time that you're doing your homework so that you can enjoy it later. The other way to think about it, I don't know if anybody out there has ever played an instrument or had to learn an instrument, and you have to learn the fundamentals of that thing. And then once you learn the fundamentals, then you can improvise, you can enjoy yourself, you can really enjoy the art. So think of it that way. Think of it in terms of that, and as opposed to just kind of getting needled down with some of that Saturnalian um, uh, grunt work. That's what that's the only way I can really describe it. So that lineup of planets in Capricorn is really kind of setting things in order, trying to give us a foundation, having us think about orders of operation, organizational management. For those of you who are in those fields, operational fields, organizational management fields, know that you will probably be quite busy during all of 2020, but definitely during the month of January, February, and March. You can anticipate that because people are going to need help with that. They're going to need help organizing what it is that they've been doing. A lot of people have been about some creative efforts. They have some great ideas going. They have some great ideas, but there's also things that have to go with that to help keep those ideas moving and growing. So wherever that exists for you, just kind of think that things are lining up, things are getting themselves in order, and that also applies to your home life and your personal relationships, because we need some reorganization there too. A lot of people have been in long-term relationships. Check in with each other and see where you are, and don't be afraid to do that. That adds another level of communication and maturation to the relationship. So wherever that applies, and the best way to know where that applies is to get your personal astrological chart done, because you can actually see where that's happening in your life or where it's likely to be showing up for you. so you won't kind of be looking for it in the dark. You can actually go in and see what's happening there. So yeah, that's the most pressing thing astrologically for January, or that's the most glaring thing. Of course, there is some moon activity, full moon, new moon activity. If you want to know more about the astrology for the month, I do a weekly forecast, astrological forecast on Patreon, so you can subscribe there if you are really into the astrology of the moment, or you want to keep up with the astrology. You can. Or if you want to check back in for the full moon and the new moon view, I do a little bit more focus on the astrology of the moon, and I'll be talking more about what's happening in January when I do those for your elements. So you can tune into that. So for today, Taurus, I'm going to be doing what I'm calling a sample. It's like a reading sampler. I feel like I'm Red Lobster or something, but anyway, it's like it's a sampler, and so I'll be doing a medicine wheel reading for you. I'll be pulling some a totem card for you. I will also be focused on the your wealth, looking at your wealth and your wealth health. And I'll also be looking at love too, doing a love reading, and I will also do an I Ching for you as well. So I'll be getting started with that. I'm really going to take my time with the videos. They're going to be really long for January, but that's because I really want to take the time during this first month so you get a real good solid sense of what's going on with you, Taurus. And then that way, I want everybody to get their foundation firm, so you'll have a good start, get a good head start. All right, so I'm going to pause the video for just a second. I'm going to pull those cards, and then I will be right back with the medicine wheel reading. All right, Taurus, so we have the medicine wheel all ready for you here. The medicine wheel is a Native American spread. It is based on the medicine wheel teachings, which are for healing and for teaching, but it's there to heal us, to find the places that where there are some kinks or some glitches or some gaps or whatever, to help us reach a total balance. And balance is looked at as being the optimal state of health. And so in looking at this, we look at the center. There's 5 cards. There's the center card, which is kind of the focus of the whole reading. And then there are 4 other cards that sit at the south, which is the place of learning. The west, which allows us to look within and look at our past. The north, which represents wisdom, or where wisdom or information about our situation is coming from and what it's saying. And then the east, which is the open gateway for next steps, next things to think about, or things that we need to focus on for moving forward. Okay, so right at the center we have the owl, which is a powerful totem for seeing and being able to see in the dark and being able to navigate the dark. So Taurus, it looks like for the month of January you're probably going to be doing a lot of shadow work, and in this case you have to be able to have the vision to see and have the inner strength and will, spiritual will, to be able to look at everything that is going on around you. When we say you have to try the spirit by the spirit, that is owl's purpose. The owl is associated with witchcraft. It's also associated with dark arts or dark energies. But the thing that I know about the owl is that the owl is a very skilled hunter of that which lurks in the dark. Again, it can see. It is a nocturnal animal, so it sees in the dark. Also, the owl can seems to be able to swivel its head all the way around, which is why it's associated with the negative. But really what it is it can see in all directions. It gives it very keen sight. It is a silent hunter, so silence is very important right now. It allows you to move and to navigate through the darkness with ease and without becoming the prey yourself. So when we talk about shadow side and we talk about dark energies, we're really talking about those things which are kept hidden. It could be secret. It could be secret knowledge, or secret knowledge, mystery knowledge, occult knowledge. It could be that. But it could also be dealing with people who are operating in the shadow around you, and you being able to see that and be able to get to it, because he's a nighttime hunter as well. The owl is a nighttime hunter, and from a shamanistic standpoint, the hunter is the one who is able to see and to capture anything that is that could be in opposition, or that could um, infiltrate your space. Okay, so it's really a protective animal, and I would say, Taurus, that you would adopt this. Now, I do have another animal totem for you later that really aligns with this too, so that lets me know that this is really, really, really important for you during the month of January, Tauruses. But we'll continue to look around the wheel and see what we have. All right, so in the south, in the position of the south, we have the beauty way. And the beauty way is really your path. It's the path of transformation, which is why we have the dragonfly here. But it really is about you following the natural order that belongs to you. It's really about aligning yourself with your spirit, and aligning yourself with who you are designed to be, and that, and understanding that, and allowing that energy to unfold is what really gives it its transformative nature, and what um, gives this process for you its power. Now, we are all looking for outcomes. We all want to know what our purpose is. We all want to, get in the best job, or have the greatest relationship, or improve our relationships, and that kind of thing. And so we understand that, but really the beauty way is opening yourself up to the spirit, and allowing the spirit to guide you, and to guide your experience, so that you are not just accomplishing the things that you think you want to accomplish, but it just opens you up to so much more. So be open. In this card sits in the position of the South. The South is where we are learning, and so you are learning about this. So I'm going to read a little bit from the book about this, especially since this is sitting in your South position. I just want to make sure that you get all the information that the authors intended. It says the beauty way is both a path that you travel on and a daily practice. The path is where you choose to perceive only beauty before you, behind you, and all around you as you journey through life. The practice is where you take action to bring beauty into every situation that you're in. So when things get ugly, you act to bring integrity and peace to the difficult encounter. When everyone else perceives only darkness, you point out the light and help uncover the hidden treasure. So I feel like that just falls right in line with this owl medicine here. As you're navigating the darkness, knowing how to bring positivity to the situation. So again, it's about you bringing the light, Taurus, to any situation that may come up for you in the month of January. So in the West, we have the arrow, which is the looks within place, and I think this is about really honoring your process. Taurus, because again, we talk about our goals and our aspirations. I don't even know if I finished that thought, but that you have your goals and your aspirations and things that you want to do, but it's the process that is really, really where the transformation comes from. That's the message here. It's the process of learning that really gets you there. So this arrow is in the west, and so what it is asking of you is to go um, through your experiences, look at where you've been and what you have been privy to and what people have exposed you to, and honor the your position in it, by um, just really seeing straight through to who you were, um, how you represented, and how you represent in any given situation. That represents your truth. If you could go back to all the major events in your life, and connect the dots and say, what's the bottom line here for Taurus? What is the thing that Taurus can be counted on no matter what? That's what this arrow is about for you, Taurus. All right, and in the north we have the giveaway. Now, the giveaway is actually a ceremony. It's a Native American ceremony where you rattle to the four directions, you build a fire, you rattle to the four directions, and you wait for an animal totem to bring back to you some message for what it is that you had to release. It is for releasing. It is for, it is a part of us. It's part of a ceremony for surrendering those things which we don't have to hold on to anymore. It also gets us in touch with giving, letting go, releasing, surrendering, and that kind of thing. So the wisdom here is to surrender to the process, to surrender to the process that's already been created, to surrender to the process that you are currently in, to also surrender to what your position is in that process, and anything that does not align itself with those things for you. Taurus it's time to release and let go of those things and let those new experiences, the new, come in and come forth. And so there's a very important message in being able to release the old, or release yourself from the old, particularly old habits or old ways of thinking. I'm feeling also that it's an important part of dealing with the shadow, as we talked about the shadow, and understanding your own light. Okay. I feel like that's an important part of the process. So, um, as January progresses, Taurus, you're gonna start to really see what has to go. You're gonna start to see that. And it could be as you're doing your own internal shadow work, or even if you're doing shadow work with what's going on around you. And I cannot emphasize this enough that when we talk about shadow work, sometimes it's internal shadow work that you have to deal with. And sometimes those of us, especially if you all are spirit warriors, or if you are a healer of some sort, you're also dealing with the same thing outside of you too. Especially if you are a light bearer. You may find yourself around a whole lot of energies. Um, and you know what kind of energies I'm talking about. Those ones that try to get, stick, and stay. Make sure you're cleansing yourself, and make sure you're clearing your auric energy and clearing your aura if you're going into situations where people are in need of deep healing. Make sure you're covering yourself and releasing too. I think that's important part of your process. And then the last card, which sits in the east, is the sorcerer. Again, we're talking about dark energies. We're talking about shadow side energies. We're talking about things that are coming to teach us about this, about our shadow side, or about the shadow nature of things. We have to see both sides. And this is a part of that 2020 assimilation. I don't know if I said in this video already, but there's 2020, there's the first quarter is going to be really busy. We're going to be doing some balancing work and some organizational work in the first quarter. Then in the second quarter, there's going to be a little lull, and then it's going to come back again in the third quarter, and then it's going to ease out too. So there's this ebb and flow of assimilation of energies that we're dealing with, and this, Taurus, to me, is a part of that for you, because we do have to get in touch with both sides of ourselves. We are not going to escape this next ascension without dealing with both our dark and our light, because the dark and the light go together. That's the way you have a bond of that's the way you're able to bridge certain information, and that's the way you're able to assimilate certain information for the sake of ascending and operating at a higher frequency. So you're not going to be able to do that without understanding a dark nature, or the darkness of your own nature, or being able to see both sides of it. So there's some inner work that's going to be happening here, and then for you healers, there also may be some outer work as well. All right, and then so that's the medicine wheel, and then I also pulled a spirit totem card for you. It's the moth spirit. If I'm not reading the bottoms and things, I'm sorry about that. But it's the way that I was trained. So what I do is look at the animal, and then I start to tell you what I know about it. And then if you want to follow the information at the card, you're welcome to do that too. But this is what I was talking about with your totem and how it corroborates with this totem here, the owl. So the owl totem is about darkness, and moth is about the darkness too. It's about navigating in the darkness. The moth spirit, they always talk about it gravitating toward the light, and the light being kind of, the end of it, and this kind of dataless experience that goes with the moth. But from a shaman standpoint, the moth really it's a very old spiritual totem that deals with darkness and light. And it's one of those animals that I'm going to say sits right beside the owl in terms of being animals of flight, animals of the air, animals of night, understanding the shadow, understanding darkness and shadow and light, and how those two play into each other. But the moth is a very ancient very old, very ancient spiritual animal totem that really goes deep. I'm not going to say deeper than the owl, but as deep as the owl, but it also has some other kinds of spiritual implications that go with its energy. So read up on the owl and read up on the moth, just this natural habitat, the way the animal moves, the way it operates, its breeding cycles, all of that. Just, watch out movies or documentaries about owls and or moths, because there's information about how these animals um, maneuver the darkness that might give you clues on how to deal with some of these dark energies within yourself, or some of them that you may be experiencing from the external. So just pay really close attention there. Those are two very powerful totems for you to walk with, Taurus, during the month of January, because I feel like you're going to be doing some really, some very serious shadow work because of that sorcerer, because of the owl, because of the, and then also because of this arrow too, because I mean, I feel like anybody who is having to do shadow work needs to be very clear about who they are, especially if you're working with shadow energies that are outside of yourself. If you're healing people with shadow shadow stuff going on, you have to be very clear about your shadow side, because you can get really messed up, to say the least, if you're working with people who are operating in the shadow, but you're not clear about your own shadow. So that's why you need to get clear here. Okay, so that is your medicine wheel plus your totem. I'm going to take a quick pause. I'm going to go to the I Ching next, and we're going to look at the I Ching readings and any changes that'll give you kind of another overview and outlook for January. Hold tight. I'll be right back. Okay, Taurus. So I have latched on here to the I Ching. This is the Klaus Holitzka deck. There's 2 or 3 ways to do I Ching. You can do I Ching by counting yarrow stalks, or you can do it by coins, which is what most people use. And then there's the card version, which is the one that I chose to work with, is Klaus Holitzka's, which I really enjoy the images. If you want to check out the art of the deck about Klaus and his drawings, then you can check that out. But at any rate, so the card for you for the month of January is card 30, which corresponds to fire or adhering. So I'm going to read this passage, and then I'm going to pull a changing card, and then we're going to look at those particular lines, because those lines might have some more information for some of you in relationship to the reading itself. So I'm going to go ahead and read straight from the text. When 2 forces mutually support one another, they achieve a greater effect than would be possible with each one acting alone. I'm definitely feeling that for you and this shadow work. Okay, shadow and light, 2 opposing forces. You are currently in the vicinity of a complicated power struggle, light and dark. Understand that even you cannot be impartial. Accept the given nature of the mutual dependence. Open up to other forces and to relationships capable of bearing the strain. All of those involved live up to their individual challenges through mutual support. You should not question the importance of cooperation, even in relationships where there is less harmony. Adapt your ideas to the realities and use your energy to expand new horizons. So, this to me is just going right back to what we were saying before about this light and dark energy that you're having to work with during the month of January. That inner light, inner dark, and I feel like it's some inner work, and it's probably inner and outer for some of you. But that inner work, that shadow work and the light work, all of that, you have to be able to see that in order to press through in your process, and also in order to set a new foundation for yourself for the year. So this is going to be really important to you throughout the year. And as I have said in the other videos, I highly recommend that as you are going throughout the month and as you're going throughout the year of 2020, come back to this January reading periodically and just check in, because this information that's coming through for January is really setting that pace and that foundation for you. And you want to be able to tap into it periodically. Make sure you're on the right track. All right, so I'm getting ready to pull a changing card so we can look at the changing lines. Now, as we read the changing lines, some of those lines may resonate more with some of you than others. Just take from whichever line, whatever applies to you. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it. It may be for someone else. So I'm going to pull a card to look at the changing lines. And then we'll go a little deeper into the I Ching to find out what that's all about. Okay? All right. So, let's see. Changing lines here are number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be reading for you. So again, whichever resonates with you, just take that. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The second line reads, try to reduce the extremes in your actions. This creates harmony and will bring good fortune. So again, if you're dealing with light and dark, if you're dealing with any extremes, if you're all one way and not another, try to reach the balance. That's what you're trying to do. Line 3, you are repressing your own mortality. Only those who have accepted and integrated the reality of death can live freely and unhindered in the present. Again, when we're talking about light and shadow, and we're talking about death, death is not necessarily about a physical death, but it's about something that has to go in order for something else to be able to come in more freely. So you have to be willing to let aspects of yourself die in order for regeneration of new energy to come in, or new things to come in. For you. And then for some of you, that's going to be about shadow and light. For some of you, it may be about other things, and it may be other wherever you see these sharp oppositions, or you see these stark dichotomies, either within yourself or between yourself and another. Pay really close attention to those things, because I guarantee you, where you feel like you're in opposition to somebody, or you're in opposition, or you're having inner conflict with yourself, you're having to bring one or the other aspects of those people, or one or the other aspects of yourself back into balance in some way. Okay? And it may deal with the shadow and the light as well. Line 4 says the upturn is unstable and the force insufficient for long-term success. Pay attention that you don't disregard your main concern for quick success. So if you're looking to climb the ladder, if you're looking for financial reward, or if you're looking to move up in your job or anything like that, or even if you're looking for certain plateaus to be reached within relationships, it's a quick upturn is not the time for that right now. Okay. You have to wait for that. And that's what I was talking about building foundations. There's this ebb and flow that allows everything to assimilate easily into itself. And if you don't have that, or if you don't give yourself that kind of opportunity, or if you don't let yourself pace yourself, or if you're not pacing yourself, it can not bode well. As the I Ching would say, it does not bode well. That's a very I Ching-y thing. All right. So, number 5, the interchange is accompanied by psychological growing pains. You recognize the limited importance of desires and concerns and endeavor to find a new approach to life. And then the last line, 6, is you must energetically fight the element of disturbance if you want to rid yourself of the bad. There we go with that shadow and light, things that are considered to be bad and good, dark and light, good and bad. All of that is going to come up for you during this month. But don't be too extreme. Again, another message about being extreme in your actions, being too demanding on yourself or others is not advisable. So don't go around, proselytizing and preaching to people what they should do. Don't pass any judgment on anyone. You're just going to kind of flow along in your journey, and pay attention to where these power struggles exist within yourself or outside of yourself, Taurus. Okay, so that's your I Ching. I'm going to go take a pause. I'm going to look at your wealth. Your wealth is next. All right, Taurus. So I have pulled your wealth from the Law of Attraction cards for wealth. Or what is it called? The Law of Attraction for wealth or something. Money and wealth, Law of Attraction. I'll put it in the description box. I am so bad with remembering names of things, so my apologies. So I've pulled a card about your wealth from the Law of Attraction cards, or something close to it. And this is what it says. It says, I will praise success wherever I see it. So success is the focus for you for January, and also defining success for yourself and recognizing success in others and allowing that to feed you, because when other people are experiencing successes, then that's going to be a part of your journey too, especially if they're in close proximity, family members or people in your tribe. So the message says, when you find yourself critical of the way anyone has attracted or is using money, you're pushing money away from you. So don't be judgmental about how other people are attaining. But when you realize that what others do with money has nothing to do with you, and that your primary work is to think and speak and do what feels good to you, then you will be in alignment not only about the subject of money, but about every important subject in your physical experience. So in all your physical experiences is tied in here. This attitude or this practice that you're going to hopefully take on during the month of January is also going to spill over into other areas, not just your financial wealth, but also other areas of your physical life. Could be your health, or could be some relationships as well. So this is something for you to focus on and think about, is whatever measure of success you see, you honor it and respect it, and appreciate it, because you want to be able to feel appreciation for your own success as well. All right, so just kind of keep this in the back of your mind. I am going to pull 3 tarot cards in relationship to your wealth. The first card is going to look at your current mindset. What's your current mindset regarding wealth and abundance and having, and I want to say physical things, objects, things, stuff like that. We'll look at your mindset in relationship to wealth. And then I'm going to pull another card that's going to look at where this mindset, where the influences come from. Where does it come from? How is it affecting you? And how has your past experiences affected your current mind state around wealth? And then the last card I'm going to pull is going to be next steps, things that you need to do next. Okay, so let's take a look here. Current mindset, past influences on the current mindset, and next steps. All right. All right, so your current mindset is the Page of Wands, which tells me that you're open to messages that you need to receive from Spirit about your wealth, okay? And we just received the first message from Spirit here, and that's about success and how you see success. So I see that you're being very open to that, and that's a good way to be, Taurus, because if you're not open to what messages could be coming through, if you're close to that kind of thing, then you're probably going to miss something. So the fact that you're open is very good. um the past influences, the past experiences that have influenced your current mindset around money is that yeah, you've had some you've had some things to happen. You've had some experiences with money that have not been good. I gotta show you this. Look at this. It's hopefully it'll be clear enough for you to see, but you got all these little haints back here, and it's like they're offering something, but you know it ain't up to any good, and you've turned away from it. You completely turned your back on this kind of stuff. This is like the foolishness. It's the, it's things that are coming to you with agendas attached to it, or either it's coming with a whole lot more than what you really need or want to have to deal with. Yeah, you just kind of had it. You've had it with it. Maybe you have started some ventures with other people and it hasn't gone well, or maybe just your experiences around trying to accumulate wealth for yourself, or try to reach a measure of success hasn't gone well. And it looks like you have turned away from. Remember, it says not to judge about other people's brand of success. So it may be that people are coming to you with something. You're like, oh, I don't like that, or I don't like the way you're doing that. And certainly if it's something nefarious, or if it's something that's not on the up and up, then you don't want to deal with that. But sometimes, there are measures that are not, that do not, that don't separate you from your integrity, but that you might not necessarily appreciate. But that's a part of their experience and not yours. And you've just kind of had it with all of that. So you are open. The good thing is that the bad experience did not close you off to new possibilities. What it did is it had the opposite effect. It had the effect of, you know what, I'm done with all this stuff. So whatever comes next is great. I'm open to hearing what I need to hear. So the next step for you, the next step for you is to really get is to not isolate yourself, is what I'm saying, Taurus. Is to not let the disappointment put you in an isolationist position. You have turned away from the things that you didn't like, but again, the message is to not judge other people's experiences, and I think that this is coming from you judging this, and it may not have been good for you, and that's fine. But the main thing is not to judge it. To, wherever success happens, say, hey, that person found their measure of success, and I'm going to find my measure of success too. But what we don't want you to do is to isolate, turn away from everybody and everything, and not be able to pull from your resources, particularly your people resources, that may help you or be able to help you achieve and master the measure of success that you're actually seeking and looking for. So the next step is not to isolate, not to turn completely away, but to, of course, try to embrace all measures of success that you may see or that you may experience. Don't drag anybody about the way they're getting their money. But I am seeing here in this Three of Wands in reverse that there's power in numbers. So if there is, if you, when you look at your measure of success and you're trying to reach that pinnacle, then know that you're going to get there with the cooperation of other people that are trying to achieve that goal, or are trying to help you achieve that goal in your own life. All right. All right, so next we'll get to love, and that will be the last thing for the month, and then we'll close out, and I'll leave some messages for you for further readings if that's what you need. Hold tight, we'll get to the love. All right, Taurus. So in the love card, I am seeing right here, and you can look at that with me. There's a person here and another person. This person appears to be sleeping or resting or needing some rest, and this person appears to be kind of watching over them, taking a look and seeing what's going on. There's a covering here over this person's head, which to me implies that there may be something on this person's mind or something that they need to get off their mind, or maybe that they need some kind of extra um, support in terms of what may be going on internally. So when you're thinking about your partner, just remember that you all are there for each other, to help each other through difficult times, or to be watchful when other people are needing a break, and then vice versa. The message here, though, that goes with this is talking about stubborn adherence to the past. So if there's anything that is getting you, or that may be affecting your relationship, that is based on past relationships or past experiences that may be infiltrating your relationship, then you'll want to think about that too. So I'm going to read directly from the book because there's a lot of information here. These love cards are connected to the Kabbalah, so there's some messages that have come through the Kabbalistic teachings that I want to share with you, as well as what the author has designed for this card. So just kind of keep that in mind. We're looking at card number 71. Card number 71, which goes with Tau. The letter Tav, or Tau as I've learned it, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is associated with the moon and Monday. Its value is 400. That number 4, again, is about foundations, and building foundations and good foundations in your relationships. It is influenced by the water element and Jupiter. So for those of you who may be in a relationship with someone who is a Sagittarius, or who has a lot of Jupiter in their chart, you might want to pay close attention there. And it connects with the two Sephiros, the Yesod and Malkut. So we're talking about foundations, and we're talking about how that manifests in real life on Earth. It is associated with the tarot card, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit deeper. There's a few messages through that same channel there, but this one is talking about stubborn adherence to the past. Nostalgia and reminiscing about the past, emotional behavior, and difficulty realizing that some things have ended and nothing will return to normal. So if there is for some of you all, you may be in a relationship that where you've grown together over time, and there may have been the way that things were in the past, and they're not that way anymore. You don't want to latch onto that. You really want to look at the present moment and see what's good about the present. Once one of you constantly recalls and reminds the other of experiences in previous relationships and strives to return to old situations that no longer exist, not a good practice, okay? He or she cannot leave things behind and see the good in the present. Doubts and fears about the future, pessimism, and a need to demand an immediate return on every effort and investment because of a subconscious knowledge that the relationship is going to end soon. Difficulty seeing the future may cause anxiety, weakness, or depression, a lack of confidence, or behavior that stems from emotions and mood swings. In certain situations, you may carry mental scars from past injuries and haven't forgiven those who have cheated on you or who wouldn't risk a new relationship for fear of being hurt again. When there's no alternative and you can't achieve harmony and peace of mind, you may isolate yourself from society or settle for a solitary life and with very few relatives and friends. I can relate. For singles, what's blocking you from achieving a stable connection is an unnecessary chatter about your ex and comparing every new person in your life to that person. Okay, it appears that you have reluctance in establishing a new relationship because of past injuries that you can't forget. So, past stuff, Do away with it, Taurus, because it's just hanging you up here. In terms of a personality, you're talking about a sensitive and emotional person, somebody who's giving, possibly naive, maybe even old fashioned or square, someone whose emotions overcome reasoning, and instead of asking directly for things, they tend to beg or demand them. This is somebody who's convinced that everyone wants to take advantage of his kind heart or her kind heart and may be irritable, anxious, and impatient. They may be prone to isolation and inflexible behavior. That could be you or it could be somebody else. Wherever it fits, that's where you need to put it. In some cases, this is a person who's capricious or irresponsible, and it's not recommended to stress out. Okay? Otherwise, something else may be released in them, a negative thing may be released in them. Okay? Advice: if you cannot release the past, the natural cycle is interrupted and you will remain stuck with your problems and miss out on the beautiful side of life. You have to learn how to relax mentally and understand that the only perfection is expressed through constant change, and the circularity of life cannot be stopped. Okay, so Taurus, for you all in your relationships, I'm going to say that it's just time to forgive the past and move on. Whatever you are longing for is gone. But as long as you're continuing to long for the past, you are not going to see the benefit of the present moment. You're going to miss that. And you don't want to miss your present because your past was your present and you didn't miss it. So you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss the goodness of the present moment. But I still can't help seeing in this card and seeing the image of this card in this card of somehow the people in relationship to each other being watchful and being mindful and being careful of how we're talking to each other or how we are influencing each other in some way, to be a caretaker of each other if that's something that you feel like is resolvable. But if your relationship is being plagued by the past, either your own hurt and anguish about past relationships, or if somebody has done something in the past that you have not yet forgiven, it is going to affect